2021. An 18-year-old university student has been stabbed to death outside his home in East London while trying to protect his family from a targeted robbery. An 18-year-old university student has died a hero. London's epidemic knife crime rises among teens. In London, a city of 9 million people, life moves at a breathtaking, relentless pace. Millions of stories cross paths every single day. In the underground stations, beneath the flashing billboards of Piccadilly Circus, and along the quiet brick-lined residential streets of the outer boroughs. But underneath this glittering, hyper-modern skyline lies a darker, bleeding reality that the city is constantly trying to look away from. In recent years, a terrifying viral culture has taken an aggressive hold of the capital's youth. It is a culture operating under a completely distorted moral code, a reality where human life is no longer treated as something sacred, but as something disposable. Sometimes the price of a human life is reduced to the price of a designer coat. This is the story of Hussain Chaudhry. He was a young man who had every single reason to look forward to the future. A boy with an entire lifetime of potential stretching out ahead of him. Yet, when the ultimate test came to his doorstep, he stood unflinchingly between a lethal blade and his mother. In doing so, he showed a fractured city what truly unadulterated courage looks like. You first have to understand exactly what was stolen from the world on that March afternoon. Hussain Chaudhry was just 18 years old. He was a first-year law student at SOAS University of London, one of the most prestigious institutes in the country. By every account from those who knew him, he was a young man gifted with a magnetic smile, a brilliant analytical mind, and incredibly deep, mature sense of duty to those around him. Hussain wasn't a boy of the streets. He didn't navigate the chaotic, dangerous subculture that catches headlines. He was a boy of the mosque. He was a boy of the books. His family were beautiful, incredibly hard-working people who hadn't just lived in Walthamstow. They had actively helped build the community up over decades. Hussain possessed a future that was supposed to take him out into the wider world to achieve massive things, to defend the vulnerable, and to make his family proud. The Chaudhry family were pillars of their East London neighbourhood. They ran an entirely legitimate small business right from their family home, buying and selling high-end designer jackets online. In a hyper-expensive city like London, where the cost of living squeezes young people from every angle, this was a modest creative hustle. It was a clean way for entrepreneurial young men to lean, commerce, manage inventory, and make an honest living through hard work and digital savvy. The Chaudhry home on Stanley Road was a safe place. It wasn't a gang house. It had absolutely nothing to do with drugs, illicit street rivalries, or underground criminality. They were simply selling coats on the internet. But in modern London, displaying luxury goods online, even through entirely legal and transparent means, can inadvertently draw the hyper-focused attention of dangerous predators. To look deeply at Hussain's story, we have to examine the wider, darker backdrop against which it occurred. Knife crime in London isn't just a statistic that gets read out on the evening news. It has become palpable atmosphere. It is an epidemic that has morphed and intensified over the last decades, shifting from localized turf wars into something far more unpredictable and chaotic. Experts who study urban violence point to a toxic cocktail of modern societal pressures. Social media algorithms now fuel intense, localized rivalries and promote an aggressive form of hyper-consumerism. We live in a culture where status is deemed to be everything, and tragically, among certain groups of youth, status is measured almost exclusively by what you wear, what brand is on your chest, and what luxury items you can flaunt. When you take that intense, desperate desire for material wealth and you mix it with severely underfunded youth services, systematic poverty, generational neglect, and incredibly easy online access to weapons, the results are guaranteed to be catastrophic. We have witnessed a terrifying psychological shift over the last generation. It used to be that violent street robberies were executed for cash, high-value electronics or jewelry items that could be easily pawned. Now, teenagers are being targeted and violently assaulted for their coats, their trainers, or their streetwear. Worse still, the level of violence used in these encounters is completely and utterly disproportionate to the petty item being stolen. There is a deep systematic desensitization to carrying knives among the youth. Many carry them out of a misplaced sense of fear, believing everyone else has one, while others carry them out of pure calculated greed. Either way, the moment a teenager puts a blade into their pocket before leaving the house, the weapon is ready and a tragedy is already halfway written. On March 17, 2021, that exact manifestation of a modern greed came knocking directly on the door of the Chaudhry families. Two teenagers hiding behind the digital disguise of ordinary, polite online buyers arrived at the residence under the pretense of wanting to inspect and purchase a designer jacket. They didn't bring cash. They didn't bring a bank card. They brought a massive knife hidden away from the view, waiting for the right moment to strike. What happened inside that family home in a matter of mere minutes changed the trajectory of the Chaudhry families forever. The two teenagers suddenly pulled out the weapon, instantly threatening the family and attempting to rob the inventory by force. A chaotic, desperate struggle immediately ensued within the narrow confines of the home. When that blade was drawn, there was no moment of hesitation, fear, or self-preservation for Hussain. He saw that his mother was under direct attack. He saw that his brother was facing a lethal threat. Hussain didn't run for the back door, and he didn't freeze in terror. He selflessly threw his own body directly into the path of the knife to protect the people who gave him life. During the frantic, violent struggle, Hussain's mother and his brother sustained severe life-altering slash wounds to their hands and their arms as they fought desperately to disarm the attacker and survive. But Hussain took the ultimate fatal blow. He suffered a single deep stab wound directly to his neck. Realizing what they had done, the attackers panicked and fled the scene, running down the street and leaving behind an entire family bleeding out on their doorstep over a piece of retail clothing. Yet it is what happened in the very final fleeting moments of Hussein's life that elevates his horrific tragedy into a profound, enduring testament of faith, love, and human dignity. As Hussain lay on the hard pavement outside his home, heavily cradled in the arms of his wounded, frantic mother, witnesses and family friends who rushed to the scene noted there was an unbelievable absence of panic in the young man. His mother was crying uncontrollably, holding him tight against the pavement. Hussain, showing a level of spiritual maturity and calmness that defined his 18 years, looked directly up at her and softly saying, "Don't worry, just call the ambulance." And then, keeping his focus entirely steady, he looked towards the sky and clearly recited the Islamic declaration of faith, the Shahada. And with those sacred words resting on his lips, his soul left his body. In the Islamic tradition, a person who dies while actively defending their family, their honor, their home, or their wealth is legally and spiritually considered a shaheed, a martyr of the highest order. The grief that settled over Walthamstow in the days following his death was absolutely paralyzing. The neighborhood felt heavy, broken, and defeated. Yet, as the days turned into weeks, the community profound pride in who Hussain was and how he lived his life began to override the suffocating darkness of the crime. Eventually, the justice system caught up with the killers. Following a detailed investigation and a tense trial, the two teenagers responsible were convicted and sentenced to long, heavy terms in prison. It was a bleak conclusion to a senseless act. Two young lives completely wasted behind the cold bars of prison cell, and one beautiful life cut short in a grave. All of this destruction for a jacket that was never even successfully stolen. But while the court system dealt exclusively with the legal punishment and the technicalities of the law, Hussein's family chose to focus their energy entirely on spiritual healing and legacy. Through the depths of their immense, unimaginable grief, the Chaudhry family, alongside the SOAS University community, refused to let Hussein's story end on a pavement in East London. They launched a massive fundraising campaign to establish Sadaqa Zaria, which translates to continuous, ongoing charity. They raised tens of thousands of pounds, channeled not into anger or retribution, but into life-giving infrastructure. They funded the construction of the clean water wells, schools, and community centers in impoverished developing countries. They ensured that even though Hussein's physical heart had been stopped by a blade, the spiritual blessings and the tangible good deeds attached to his name would continue to flow across the world forever. Hussein's story ultimately leaves us with two deeply contrasting realities. On one hand, it exposes just how profoundly broken certain parts of modern urban society have become, revealing a subculture where teenagers can carry lethal knives without a single thought for the value of human life or the collateral damage left in their wake. But on the other hand, it shows us the absolute pinnacle of human nature. Hussain didn't let fear dictate his final moments. He represents the absolute best of London, the best of modern youth, and the best of what means to be a protector. London will undoubtedly continue to grapple with its ongoing epidemic. The sirens will continue to echo through the dark streets of the capital, and the headlines would continue to cycle through tragedy. But the city will also forever remember the 18-year-old law student who, when the darkest possible moment arrived, consciously chose love, duty, and faith over fear. A son, a brother, a protector, a hero. Hussain Chaudhry. Rest in peace, Hussain Chaudhry.